Hello, my name is Natalia Dominguez. I'm working at C-Tech Innovation, and today I'll be explaining to you how to operate our C-Joule LAB 100 unit. This system is a 26 kilowatt watt Ohmic heater which is able to heat up any conductive media up to 100 degrees C. The unit consists of a control panel which has an isolation bulb. It has also an HMI box with a touch screen for operating purposes, and our main system is the Ohmic Heater containment, which it has an interlocked lid and a steering paddle. Later on in a later video I will explain to you the inside of this containment. In addition to this, the system is provided with 4 different vessels to heat up a product at different volumes and different heating rates, which I will also explain to you in a later on video. So now I'll be going through what is in our Ohmic heater containment. So as I mentioned before, this is an interlock lid, which essentially what it does is to avoid operating the system when the lid is not in place. That's for safety reasons. When you are going to remove the lid, make sure the paddle is pushed up, so it's out of the way of the vessel. You remove the lid, and now you will be able to see what is inside. So essentially what we have here is the vessel where you are going to place the product you want to process. Those are the electrodes where we apply the energy into, so the current passes through the media and heats up the product. And we have 4 different thermocouples. One is our control thermocouple, which basically controls the energy that goes into the product. And then the other 3 are just for monitoring purposes, in case you want to check what the temperature distribution across the product is. Now I'm gonna go through how to replace one of the vessels. So first of all, what you need to do is to remove the thermocouples from the vessel. It's basically removing with this little valve over here. Once you have removed the 4 thermocouples, the next step will be to remove the electrodes from the vessel, which are fixed into the system with just hand-tight knobs. Remove the washer, which protects the coating of the electrodes from damaging. Once you've done that, you can remove out of the vessel the electrodes and place them somewhere safe. Bear in mind, the coating of those electrodes are a thin coating that they can get scratched easily, and therefore you want to keep an eye on those and be sensible about it. The next step will be to undo the holding of the vessel. So once again, those are fixed into the system using hand-tight knobs, which you undo. And now the system is ready to lift the vessel and replace it for a new one. Once you have removed the vessel, now you can select a different vessel which it will give you different volume to process or different heating rates depending what the scope of your testing is. As I said before, the system is provided with 4 different vessels, starting from 1.9 liters up to 7.5 liters containment. For this video, for this demonstration, what I will select is the highest one, the biggest one, which is 7.5 liters. Once you have selected the vessel that you want to use, you just place this on its holder back into the rig through those screws, and now you can hand tight the knobs to fix the position. Please remember that those do not require a massive force, but it needs to be tight enough to have a good electrical contact. Once you have fixed the position of the vessel into the containment, you just place back the electrodes into the vessel. Please do not forget to use the washers so it avoids damaging the coating on the electrodes when you fix the position of those using the hand-tight knobs. Once the vessel is ready, we can place back the thermocouples into the vessel. Keep in mind that it's entirely up to the operator to use all of them, or you can select only 1, 2 or 3, whichever is of your interest. The main key here is to always make sure that the control thermocouple, which is labeled as B1.1, is inside and is immersed in the product. The reason why is because that thermocouple is the one that we use to control the system, and it gives us how to apply the energy. As well, if you want, you can select different positioning of the thermocouples, so you can slide the thermocouples right and left, and also forward and backwards. As you can see, this will give you the flexibility to check or monitor the temperature across the product in different areas. Now, I will show you how to switch the system on. First of all, make sure that before you plug the system into the mains, the isolator on the control panel is off, which it will be shown a little label over here, and this needs to be in this position. The equipment requires a 3-phase 400 watts 63 amp socket, which currently is already plugged in. Now, once the mains is connected, you can switch on the system, and you will be able to see instantly the HMI switching on. Before we go through the screens on the HMI box, I'd like to explain to you what those are. So this is an emergency stop. This is the USB port where you can put the USB driver to data log, and this is the reset button. As I mentioned before, this is the HMI box where the operator will operate the system. It has an emergency stop, it has a USB port where you can insert a USB driver for data logging and the reset button. Please do ensure that the USB is in place when you switch the system on to avoid the corruption of the driver. You can peel or remove the plastic on the HMI box, on the HMI screen. However, for the purposes of this demonstration, we won't do that. As you can see, the system is coming by default with an alarm, the alarm screen, which is basically because you need to reset the system before you are able to operate it. First of all, ensure the emergency stop is not in place by turning this. As you can see, we have been able to clear up most of the safety faults that they are coming by default. However, there are 2 of them that they are still in place. The reason why is because the safety fault is for the lead, which is at this moment removed from the system. So every time that the lead is removed, the safety fault will engage. The heater fault is because we have not enabled the heater contact into it, which we will do later on. Before we go any further, I'm gonna go through the screens of the HMI. So as you can see, this is the home screen, which is the one that the operator mainly will always use. However, you have other screens available, most of them analog input, the analog output, the digital input, and the digital output are mainly engineering screens for commissioning purposes or for fault findings. Then you also have the heater PNID screen, which I will actually press. So you can see those shows what the PNID terms needs to be to control the system in an accurate manner. The system can be operated into main modes, in manual mode and in automatic mode. When you operate in manual mode, you will see that the set point is power percentage. If you change into automatic mode by pressing hitting manual mode, you will see that the set point changes from percentage to temperature. And in addition to this, you will be able to see here all the data that it will be recording if you want to data log. So you have the 4 thermocouples, you've got the voltage that is applied, the current that is passing through the media, and the total power that is used by the system. In addition to that, the system data logs also what the set point the operator wants to have in the system. If you want to data log, you only have to press a start log button. This will change of color from color, as you can see, and in order to stop it, you just only have to press the stop log button. Now I'm gonna do a quick demonstration on how to heat up some solution. For this test, what I'm gonna do is to operate on the biggest vessel, which is 7.5 liters, and I'm gonna pour roughly 4 liters of 1 Siemens per meter saline at room temperature, and we are gonna heat it up to 90 degrees. First of all, we put the solution into the vessel carefully so we do not splash around the rig any of the liquid. consider when you do a testing is, first of all, we need to ensure that the thermocouples, at least the one that we are using for controlling purposes, is immersed in the media at all the times. So it accurately measures what the temperature of the product is. Secondly, you might want to leave some head space in the vessel, so if it vigorously boils, it does not overflood liquid around. Once you have put the volume that you want to heat up into the vessel, we close the lid. Bear in mind, this lid goes only one way. As you can see, the sizes are completely different. For this demonstration, I will not be using the paddle or any steering, since it is a liquid, an homogeneous liquid. The steering generally is very useful when you have liquid with pieces like potatoes, rice, pasta, anything that requires probably a good steering. The steering generally can be applied by moving the paddle side to side. You can also go around and you can push it up and forward if you want. For this demonstration, I will just leave it out of the way. So once you have put the product you want to heat up into the vessel and you have put the lid back on, we are going to be setting up all the parameters in the home screen to be able to operate the system. So currently it's in manual mode. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to be operating in automatic mode. So I'm going to press, first of all, the heating is in manual mode, so that's changed into automatic. That will change the set point from power percentage into temperature. Currently, the temperature set point is at 95 degrees. Since I want the product to be heated up to 90, I'm going to change that to 90. Also, I'm going to change the temperature high limit. So currently it's at 105, which is the maximum temperature limit allowance, and I'm going to change it to 100 degrees. This means that if for whatever the reason the temperature on the product goes above 100 degrees, the power will be shut down. Also, I'm going to start logging by pressing the start log button over here. Another thing we need to do is to clear up any of the faults that you will be able to see at the bottom of the home screen. So first of all, I'm going to reset any default faults by pressing the reset button. The only one that you won't be able to clear up is the heating fault, and that's because first of all you need to enable the heating contactor. So by pressing heating disable button allows you to put energy into the heater. Then we press again reset button and it will clear up the heating fault that you will be able to see down in the bottom. Once all that is set up, is ready to press start. So we will be pressing now hitting a start button, and as you will be able to see, voltage and current will be applying. So currently we are about 7 kilowatts and is heating up the media. We are currently at 29 degrees C and increasing up. So now that we are the product is getting closer to the temperature set point, the heater energy is decreasing. So we went up to 12 kilowatts and now is about 6.5. since the temperature is roughly 84 degrees. Once it gets into the temperature set point, it will continue operating or applying the voltage and the current that it needs to keep it into the temperature set point. So currently now we just achieved 90 degrees, and the energy now is really low. It's about half a kilowatt. If you want to operate or keep in the temperature at the set point, you just need to keep operating the system. If you only want to get the temperature into the 90 degrees, then you just press hitting stop, and it will stop the system.